Good evening and welcome to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen meeting for Monday, June the 8th. We welcome all those that are at home watching this on local television or streaming with us through the internet. This evening, our invocation will be led by City Administrator Patrick Lawton. Mr. Lawton, please lead us in prayer.
Thank you, Mayor. Dear God, we know that your thoughts are not our thoughts, nor are your ways our ways. For the heavens are higher than the earth, so are your ways higher than our ways, and your thoughts than our thoughts. But we ask you that you reveal yourself and your thoughts throughout this meeting this evening. Let our ways be aligned with your ways throughout the meeting. Let this meeting be aligned with and a reflection of your heavenly activity. In your name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Lawton. Appreciate the opening invocation. Next on the agenda, I will read a statement into the record. All local governing bodies in the state of Tennessee have been impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. Germantown is no exception. In an effort to carry out its governance and operational responsibilities lawfully and effectively, while also considering the protection of public health, safety, and welfare, the Germantown City Administration has taken steps to conduct Board of Mayor and Aldermen and other meetings electronically. These actions were taken in response to Governor Bill Lee's Executive Order number 34, an order extending Executive Order number 16, which suspended the requirements of the Tennessee Open Meetings Act to the extent necessary to allow governing bodies subject to that act to meet and conduct essential business by electronic means. The Germantown Board of Mayor and Aldermen has determined that meeting electronically is necessary to protect the health, safety, and welfare of its citizens in light of COVID-19 pandemic. Further, notice of such electronic meetings has been and will continue to be published in the same manner as is currently used for regular meetings. The public is also and will continue to be able to view the agenda and have live access to the actual meetings by electronic means, by logging into Germantown's webpage and by clicking the appropriate link. Video recordings of the meeting will be made available as soon as practicable after each meeting on the city's website at www.germantown.tn.gov. That's germantown-tn.gov. These measures are temporary and are due to expire on June 30th, 2020, unless further action is taken by Governor Lee. The city complies with the American Disabilities Act. Should you need accommodations, call the city at 757-7200 in advance of our meetings. With that said, we move to item 4 on the agenda. That is setting the agenda, setting and adopting the agenda. The agenda was submitted to the public earlier this week on Wednesday. Are there any additions to the agenda at this time? Is there a motion to accept the agenda?
So moved.
There is a motion by Alderman Sanders and a second by Alderman Gibson to adopt the agenda. Please call the roll.
Alderman Sanders?
Yes.
Alderman Gibson?
Yes.
Alderman Massey?
Yes.
Alderman Owens?
Yes.
And Vice Mayor Yonda?
Yes.
Thank you, Board. The agenda is set and adopted for this evening. That takes us to item 5 on the agenda this evening, approval of the minutes. 2 sets of minutes to be approved. The first is approval requested for the minutes of the regularly scheduled meeting held on April 27th, 2020. Are there any additions or modifications to the minutes at this time? Is there a motion to accept the minutes as presented to the public?
Move to approve.
There's a motion.
Second.
There's a motion by Alderman Gibson and a second by Alderman Sanders. Please call the roll.
Alderman Gibson?
Yes.
Alderman Massey?
Yes.
Alderman Owens?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Yonda?
Yes.
And Alderman Sanders? Alderman Sanders?
Ms. Betty, I believe he'll be back There he is.
I apologize for that. I'll vote yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. The minutes from the regularly scheduled meeting of April 27th, 2020 have been approved. That takes us to item B. On item 5, approval of the minutes for the regularly scheduled meeting on May 11th, 2020. Are any additions or modifications from those particular minutes? Is there a motion to approve the minutes as presented to the public?
Move to approve.
So motion by the Vice Mayor. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Gibson. Please call the roll.
Alderman Massey,
Yes.
Alderman Owens,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Yonda,
Yes.
Alderman Sanders,
Yes.
Alderman Gibson.
Yes.
Thank you. The minutes from the meeting held on May 11th, 2020 have been approved. That takes us to item 6 on the agenda this evening, citizens to be heard. Clerk Betty, are there any citizens to be heard this particular meeting?
Yes, Mayor, one citizen came forward to express her pleasure. She was very complimentary of city staff and city services.
Thank you very much. And I know all board members received the citizens to be heard email during the week. Thank you for that report, Clerk. That takes us to item 7 on the agenda, the preliminary agenda. I'll read into the record those items. Item 7A, the public education governmental disbursement to Germantown Municipal School District for periods 2 and 3, the second and third quarter. Item 7B, purchase custodial services for the Great Hall and Conference Center and Fire Station number 4 training area. Item 7C, purchase for network annual maintenance. Item 7D, a purchase for public safety software annual maintenance. Item 7E, reimbursement for the 911 digital voice recorders project. And item 7F, reimbursement for overtime police pay. Is there a motion to accept and approve the preliminary agenda as presented to the public?
Move to approve.
There is a motion by the Vice Mayor. Is there a second?
Second.
It's a second by Alderman Owens. Please call the roll.
Alderman Owens,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Yonda,
Yes.
Alderman Sanders,
Yes.
Alderman Gibson,
Yes.
Alderman Massey.
Yes.
Thank you, Board. The preliminary agenda has been approved. We move to item 8 on the agenda, which is a second reading and a public hearing this evening. Item 8, Ordinance 2020-2, year-end budget adjustments, second reading and public hearing. Director Adrian Royals will give that presentation. Director.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate it. So this item is for the approval of ordinance number 2020-2 on second reading and to conduct a public hearing and set June 22nd for the third and final reading. The first couple of budget adjustments we already went over the last time. It's related to the ambulance fund with COVID-19 impact of revenues and expenses. I did send out a additional updated budget adjustment, but no changes were made to the total or for the reason we had left off the ambulance side. The next one was related to cash balance pension fund. And the third one, which is the new one, that would be budget adjustment 20-147 is related to the fire department, in particular the wage line. We are asking for an additional $160,000. Most of that is related to outer rank pay, Fair Standard Labor Act, and the deployment of staff to Hurricane Dorian. The Hurricane Dorian was reimbursed. You can see that with the $25,000. Fair Labor Standard Act is when firemen work over a certain number of hours during a 2-week period, then they are required to be paid at a premium or half pay. And then the outer rank pay is when a particular fireman is off, then the fireman that is lower in rank will step into that new position and will be paid for that day for the outer rank pay. I'm happy to take any questions.
Mayor,
Thank
if I
you,
could,
Director Royals. Go ahead.
all right, Mayor,
All right,
if I could add one thing. If the board would look at the proposed motion resolution on the back of that page, if you would put a period after on second reading, we typically don't set the third and final reading. That was caught here at the administration level and with our city clerk, but we did not change that in your packet. So the motion would be to approve ordinance 2020-2 for year-end budget adjustments on second reading period. Ordinances typically then will just fall to the next board meeting. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr.
Mayor,
Lawton.
just a quick comment. That's actually what my my motion says. It has a
Okay.
period. It doesn't have
Okay.
anything.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
At this time, I will open a public hearing and establish a public hearing open to the public. The public hearing was actually opened Wednesday when the packets went out to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen and to the public. We have a dedicated email established for that. At this time, I would call on Clerk Betty. Are there any comments from the public on this particular agenda item? Clerk Betty.
No, Mayor, no one came forward.
Thank you. Seeing and hearing no one come forward during the open public hearing portion of this particular agenda item, I declare that public hearing now closed. Is there a motion to approve ordinance number 2020-2 for year-end budget adjustments on second reading? Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
There is a motion by Vice Mayor Yonda. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Alderman Owens. Vice Mayor, would you like the floor at this time?
No, I think it's self-explanatory.
Thank you. Alderman Owens, would you like the floor?
No, thank you.
Open for discussion. Any alderman? Please call the roll.
Alderman Yonda,
Yes.
Alderman Sanders,
Yes.
Alderman Gibson,
Yes.
Alderman Massey,
Yes.
Alderman Owens.
Yes.
Agenda item is approved. Administration thanks the board for its support. That takes us to item 9 on the agenda. Ordinance number 2020-4, Germantown Municipal School District year-end budget adjustments, second reading and public hearing. Director Royals will make this presentation as well. Director?
Thank you, Mayor. The purpose of this agenda item is to approve ordinance number 2020-4 on second reading and conduct the public hearing. Like the city, the school board also has many year-end budget adjustment that it needs to make in order to avoid budget overruns. I would like to say that each one of these budget adjustments have been approved by the school board, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Director Royals, for the presentation. At this time, I will declare a public hearing open and also call on Clerk Betty to report if anyone during Wednesday through noon today asked to comment on second reading public hearing on this particular agenda item. Clerk?
No, Mayor, no one came forward.
Thank you. At this time, I will conclude the opportunity for a public hearing and we return to seeking a motion. Is there a motion to approve ordinance number 2020-4 for Germantown Municipal School District year-end budget adjustments on second reading?
Move to approve.
There's a motion, a motion by Alderman Gibson, a second by Alderman Owens. Alderman Gibson, would you like the floor?
No, thank you.
Alderman Owens, would you like the floor?
Actually, I think it may have been Alderman Yonda or.
Yes. My apologies. So Vice Mayor, you had the second on that?
Yes, I did.
I thank you. I stand corrected. So, yes, Vice Mayor, would you like the floor?
No, it's again self-explanatory.
Thank you, sir. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Alderman Sanders, I'll come back around. Alderman Gibson,
Yes.
Alderman Massey,
Yes.
Alderman Owens,
Yes.
Alderman Yonda,
Yes.
Alderman Sanders,
Yes.
Thank you, Board. The motion and the agenda item is approved and moves to third and final reading. That brings us to item 10 on the agenda this evening, ordinance number 2020-6, rezoning of a 3-acre parcel from residential estate to R low-density single-family residential. First reading. Director Cameron Ross will make this presentation. Director Ross.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the board. As the mayor introduced this item, this is a rezoning of a 3-acre parcel from RE1 residential estate to R low-density single-family residential immediately east of the Forest Hill Elementary School property along Forest Hill Irene Road, approximately 1,390 feet off of Forest Hill Irene Road. It's a joint application between Taylor Land Investors and the Germantown Municipal School District as the property owner. This 3 acres is part of a larger 38-acre property, which contains the 3-acre that was annexed into the city in July 2000. It remained undeveloped until 2017, when the property was approved by the Board of Zoning Appeals, Planning Commission, and Design Review Commission to be developed as a public elementary school and the school district offices for the Germantown Municipal School District. Both buildings have been constructed and are operational on this subject property. The 3-acre portion that is part of the request tonight has remained undeveloped. As part of the application, the school district has gone into a land exchange agreement in February of 2020, along with the Board of Mayor and Aldermen, that the school district would deed 3 acres of their property, the current site that is zoned RE1 residential, to Taylor Land Investors, with the intent that it would be part of a proposed single-family residential development on the property to the north. Taylor Land Investors would deed 5 acres of their property to the north along the railroad tracks to the city for use of public utilities. In order for these 3 acres to be developed consistently, following this general guideline with the R zoning of the property, as well as future plans for the remaining acreage, which has yet to be considered by the Planning Commission, the entire property has to be zoned R residential. The Planning Commission recommended approval of this rezoning following these basis to grant a rezoning, that there has been a change in the neighborhood considering the proximity to the new school property, and that the criteria is changes in population, changes in existing road patterns or traffic, including traffic volumes, the need of the rezoning based on the classification of a neighborhood, and the effect of the requested change in relationship to the surrounding properties. This does meet our key performance areas within land use and transportation of the Germantown Forward 2030 plan. Strategic objective number 4, the city experiences positive trends in assessed value of residential areas. The next step to this application would be second reading and public hearing, then a third reading. At that point, Mr. Duke and his partners, with the successful closing and transfer of the land, would be able to make application to the Planning Commission for their subdivision plan. That concludes presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you for the presentation, Director Ross. It's greatly appreciated. Is there a motion to approve ordinance 2020-6 on first reading and to set the public hearing for July 13th, 2020? Is there a motion?
So moved.
There's a motion by Alderman Owens. Is there a second?
Yes, second. Rocky.
There is a second by the Vice Mayor. Alderman Owens, would you like to have the floor, sir?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Sure. I'll be brief. My opinion on this is that we have a classic example from a land use standpoint, at least, of a rezoning request that really checks all the boxes in terms of justification. Cameron mentioned it. Director Ross mentioned it. He talked about the changes we've seen in this area. The changes, not only the changes in population, the changes in our roadway and traffic patterns because of the school. We've seen changes in the neighborhood, and at least it's my belief, that there will be no adverse effects. As a matter of fact, only positive effects on the surrounding neighborhood as a result of this zoning change and the additional families that will be moving in around the school. In addition, we have some buy-in from the surrounding neighborhood and property owners, and so I would just say that I'll be in support of this zoning change.
Thank you, Alderman. Vice Mayor Yonda, would you like the floor at this time?
No, I think Alderman Owen said it all, to tell you the truth. It's a good idea for our community, and I will be supporting it.
Thank you. The floor is open for discussion. Please call the roll.
Alderman Gibson,
Yes.
Alderman Massey,
No.
Alderman Owens,
Yes.
Alderman Yonda,
Yes.
Alderman Sanders.
Yes.
The motion moves from first reading to second reading and public hearing on July 13th, 2020. We have reached the conclusion of our agenda this evening, and I thank all of the board for participating this evening and staff, and wish you a great evening and rest of the week. We are adjourned. Thank you.